Hello and welcome to the Finance Education for Investors course. My name's Sam Wiley. I'm the founder of Windlestone Education and of course the instructor for this course. I've been an academic and an industry consultant for 30 years. I'm a principal fellow in the finance group at the Melbourne Business School, which is the graduate business school of the University of Melbourne. For now, let's jump into looking at the purpose of the course and the content that delivers on that purpose. So the purpose of the course is twofold: giving you a feeling of empowerment in your investing and getting you to better outcomes. So many people feel disempowered in their investing in several ways. First of all, they feel like there's big parts of investing that they don't know about, let alone even understand. Secondly, they don't feel like they can find someone who they can trust to help them with their investing. And third, they feel like they haven't achieved traction in their investing. They're not making and implementing choices that move them towards their goals. Or perhaps they're unable to unwind some poor decisions that have been made in the past. So our first objective is to give you the opposite of that feeling of disempowerment, to make sure that you do know what the big parts of investing are, to help you to work out how to find someone who you can trust to help you with investing if you choose to do that, and then achieving traction in making your choices and moving forward with an investment process. Now, the second and equally, or perhaps even more important purpose is to get to better outcomes, to earn higher returns on your investments, to reach a higher level of wealth, to reach the financial goals that you have for the life that you want your family to live more quickly, getting to better outcomes, empowerment and getting to better outcomes. Now, to deliver on those purposes, we have content in 4 parts. The first part is a comprehensive investment process, a process that you work through over time of setting goals, making choices to reach those goals, implementing those choices, and checking that you're on track. Setting goals, making choices, implementing those choices, and controlling the process to make sure that you're on track to reach your goals. This is the very heart of the course and the most important part of the course. Now, we're going to talk about it in the very next video, so I'm not going to dwell on it very much here. Now, the second part is having an investment philosophy. A philosophy of any kind is a set of guiding principles. So if you have an ethical philosophy, which of course you do, then that's a set of guiding principles that you compare choices that you make in life to your ethical philosophy, your set of guiding principles. Well, you need an investment philosophy, a set of guiding principles that you compare the choices that you make in your investment process to. And that'll really help you in several ways. First of all, it'll help you achieve consistency in your decision making. You won't be making one decision here that pulls in the opposite direction down here. So consistency. And then next, it'll help you to not get blown off track during financial crises. Financial crises come along from time to time. We had the dot-com bubble, we had the GFC, of course. And during those crises, people make decisions and act on those choices in a way that they come to regret later on. You want to make sure that that doesn't happen to you, and it won't happen if you have a good set of principles to compare your choices to. You won't get blown off track. Now, thirdly, it helps you by having a set of investment principles not to make really poor choices. Now, we can't expect to make a lot of brilliant choices. None of us is Warren Buffett, but we can rule out making very poor choices. And over a long investment journey, that makes a huge difference. So consistency, not getting blown off track, not making very poor choices. That's why you need an investment philosophy, a set of guiding principles to compare choices that you make in your investment process too. So we develop our investment philosophy. Then we need a lot of knowledge about investments and products and markets and participants in the markets, etc. Now, we especially need this knowledge for the implementation of choices. So we make choices, set goals, make choices to reach those goals and implement those choices. Let's say, for instance, that you decide to put 25% of your investments outside the ownership of your family home. Why outside the ownership of the family home? We'll come to that. But 25% of your investable wealth into Australian shares. Well, what do you do next? What's your next move? Are you going to get a full service broker to invest it for you? Are you going to have a discount brokerage account to do it yourself? Are you going to use exchange traded funds, managed funds, listed investment companies? How are you actually going to implement that choice to invest 25% of your wealth into Australian shares? That's such a crucial thing, implementation. You know, if we don't talk about implementation a lot, what will happen here is we'll talk through investment process, and you might come to think, wow, that was really interesting, and Sam's kind of a funny guy. Hope you do think those things. But in 5 years' time, it won't have moved the dial one bit. We've forgotten about all of that. And it won't have given you the feeling of empowerment and moved you towards better outcomes. You need to go the whole distance to make choices and then actually implement the choices. And so for that, we need a lot of knowledge. So we develop knowledge for several purposes, but a really key one is for the purpose of implementation. And then we have last here, but certainly not least, our 10-step program of self-examination. And the first purpose here is to work out what's right and what's wrong about your investing and to fix what's wrong. Now, the second purpose, which is equally important, is to bring you up to speed on the investment process. If I just describe the investment process, then it'll be like a train going by and you won't be on it. To make sure that you are on the train, what we need week by week is to bring you up to speed on the investment process. In the first week, we set your goals. In the second week, we position you on the risk spectrum. In the third week, we work out what you're investing in at the moment. In the fourth week, we look at how much you're saving and whether that's going to be enough to reach your goals, etc. Later on, we work more and more on strategy in that 10-step program. But this is about bringing you up to speed on an investment process so that by the end of the course, you have a really well-functioning investment process that you can carry forward with you into the future. Now, that's the content to deliver on the purpose, but we need materials to deliver the content to deliver on the purpose. And the most important part of the materials, of course, are the live classes. So 10 two-hour live classes from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. And then those live classes are recorded. They're recorded and then they're broken up into several videos, which are put onto the Thinkific Learning Management platform. So they're fully recorded. If you can't make the class, you can watch the recordings and you don't miss out on anything. And they are here on the Thinkific Learning Management system, as I'll show you in just a moment. Now, in addition to those recordings of the live classes, there are supplementary videos, 2 supplementary videos in each class. One's to do with structuring and tax planning and one's to do with a different topic each time, as I'll show you in just a moment. Now, let's have a look at the Thinkific Learning Management System, which contains all of this content. We can see it here. There's 1 page for each class, going down to the 10 classes. And in each page, we first of all have the class slides, which you can see here, 60 or 70 PowerPoint slides for each. But you can access the slides here. And at the end of every class, the slides for the next class go up. And what also goes up is the videos related to that class. So you can see here that these are the topics covered in the first live class. This introduction, the investment process, superannuation, 2 videos on that, and the first step in the 10-step program. What's not covered in the first class are these 2 supplementary videos. Investment philosophy, which is crucially important, but are put into a supplementary video to save time. And then, of course, structuring and tax planning. We have a structuring and tax planning video each week. The first one's on family trust, the second one's on superannuation, the third one goes back to family trust to talk about it in more depth. The fourth one is on self-managed super funds. The fifth and sixth ones are on taxation of different types, etc. And it goes on for 10 videos. Now, one other thing about the videos, so if I just click on this one, a video will come up. We'll see here that we can adjust the speed at which the video plays up to 2 times. So using the materials on the Thinkific Learning Management platforms are really crucial part of the course. And I urge you to go there at least once a week to have a look at those videos. Now, the final part here is the one-on-one discussions with me at calendly.com/win_ed. So if you go here, you can make a time to speak with me. And you can see that here. You will come directly to the page where you can choose a day and a time. If history repeats, about half of you on the course will choose to speak to me during the course and perhaps after the course. Because those discussions are talking about your investment journey and also an opportunity for you to ask me any questions. So those are the materials that deliver on the content, which in turn delivers on the purpose of the course. Now, the 10 topics that we have across 10 classes, well, as we move through the topics, we are basically moving through different asset classes. So there's different classes of investments that we call asset classes. So for instance, one is shares, another is property, another is fixed income, also known as bonds, another is private investments, such as infrastructure and private equity and private credit and hedge funds and real assets. Now, I know you don't know what these things are, but don't forget we're at the beginning of the course here and everything's going to be fully explained. I should also emphasize that in finance, there's a lot of different names for the same thing. So I will say shares and stocks and equity interchangeably. They are exactly the same thing, but I'll use the different terms from time to time. And sometimes I will say profit, and other times I'll say earnings, and other times I'll say net income. But those three things are exactly the same thing. Now, to begin with, that'll seem a bit confusing that I use those words interchangeably without really explaining. But by the end of the course, you won't even notice. By the end of the course, you'll have complete facility with those terms. And that's so empowering. So we're going to move through asset classes, investment classes. The first asset class will be shares. We'll talk about that in these three classes. We'll get rolling in the first class and then in these three classes. Then we'll be into property, residential property and commercial property, the asset class, the investment class that is property. Then we'll be into fixed income, also known as bonds, and I'll explain what that means when we get to that part. And then we'll be going into this class, in the eighth class, we'll be into private assets. So one way that we move through the classes, a principal way, is to talk about asset classes in more and more depth. Another way that we move through the classes is to deepen our knowledge as we go along. A third way that we move through the classes is to bring you up to speed on the investment process through the 10-step program. So one part of the 10-step program every week. And a fourth way that we move through the classes is the structuring and tax videos, the 10 videos made between Brendan Gilly, who you'll see in the videos, and me. We move our way through the classes, deepening our knowledge on the different types of assets, shares and property and fixed income and private assets, etc., in the knowledge that we need on investments and markets and participants, etc., for implementation, through the 10-step program and through the 10 videos on structuring and tax planning. So deepening our knowledge week by week as we go through the course in those four ways, which you'll see are integrated together as we go through the course. Now here I'm showing you what the 10 parts of the self-examination of your investing are. The 10-step program is self-examination. Start off with setting your goals. We're going to do that in week one, and then we position you on the risk spectrum, and then we move forward from there. Some of these go together. So for instance, in week 2, we look at how much risk you should be taking and compare it to how much risk you actually are taking in your current investments and see if there's a disjunction. See if you are taking the wrong amount of risk. And then we look at the goals that you set and compare that to whether you're saving enough. We use a calculator here to work out whether you're saving enough to actually reach your goals. And then as we go deeper and deeper into this, we're more and more into strategy, but we need some time to set ourselves up for strategy. We need to deepen our knowledge before we really start talking about the strategy parts of your investment process. So they appear later in the 10 steps. So it's a bit of work, the course. It's not overwhelming by any means, but it takes a little bit of commitment week by week. I think you will find it engaging and enjoyable, and that will really deliver on the promise. It'll deliver, if you put the effort in to get everything out of the course, it'll really deliver on the promise of giving you the feeling of empowerment and getting you to better outcomes. You'll love it.